Hi, welcome to Enshrouded. This is my village. You can't really see much today. It's kind of hazy. Well, there's the spire. I'm south of the Ravelwood spire at the Mistbury Catacombs. Right here, and there's the Alchemist Tower there. This is my second playthrough. The first one I didn't completely finish. I was right at it, though. But this one I have done everything. I can't do anything else. And so I wanted to show this village. I thought about doing another playthrough. So I wanted to show this village and then record my next village or my next playthrough. So this is my tavern. This is my, I guess, the newer side of town. Not anything elaborate or anything. It's kind of a simple structure. Hello, ladies. But this, it's just simple. There's like, okay, counting her, just a simple building, but I like it. It's kind of elaborate. That's a balcony. And there's my first little ruin down there that I built. It's real pretty at night because I have a light in it. It's pretty. I got these ruins from the idea of Garden of Ninfa. If you look that up, it's in Italy. And Garden of Ninfa is absolutely stunning. So that was something that I just had to put on here. But got these guys. We don't have horses, so they're just pushing the cart themselves. There's the Fey deer. Just a simple little thing because I don't need a bunch. I don't have any of my animals having babies. I did for a bit, but it was just too much. I didn't need all that. This is the museum. Is what I'm calling it. There's the kitchen. I had a... Hello. He's kind of weird. I had this idea for this kitchen, and I just put it into effect, and it just looks really charming. Very charming to me. I like it. I used these stone cabinets to make like the island. And, well, let's run upstairs. Oh, yeah, there's the big dude. I've killed him twice. It's a good thing he glitches sometimes. Because without that glitch, he would do me in quite a few more times. Nothing elaborate here either. I have a couple of people that live here. And this is the cage that, well, I saw it on Enshrouded, little trailer or a video. They were talking about using that as an end table or coffee table. So then here is the rest of it. There's and when I had that hanging down, and I thought, well, I'm going to try to put a chandelier in it. So I knew I was, can't obviously leave it hanging like that. So I put a chandelier in it. And I think it looks nice. It's not perfect because you can see where one of the candles, well, both of them are, but the one on the right is very noticeable. And this bay window I learned from a guy doing a YouTube tutorial for that, and I cannot think of his name, but if I can find it, I'll link it. And I just thought this was kind of nice. Looks like a lodge. But yeah, I've just got various things about in here. And I think this is a pretty building. It was rough getting going because it kept turning into something that I just wasn't liking. So I had to stop and redo it. But it turned out pretty good, especially now that I've got trees, because this was barren land basically. But it was still beautiful because it was so green. It was very lush, but I wanted tons of trees in here, at least for this playthrough. And these women here on the diner next door, not the diner, but, well, kitchen. And I wanted to put them next to it because that would be where they worked. I had this idea to do these cabinets this way. I could have sunk the bowls, but I didn't think of it. I was just stacking. And I love little nooks like this. It's so cozy. And I just enjoy doing these little walls like this. This whole half walls. I like the shelving above. I didn't put any faucets or anything in here. When I saw that big corner right there, I just pictured that in my head to have those lights like that. This is absolutely nothing because I have nothing to put here really. So it's here. And then here's the kitchen. Here's the little storage building. Not much, but I think it looks nice for a little storage. Rustic storage. And here we have friends greeting each other. This was a blast. Trying to get this set up. Once you get it in your head how to do this stuff, you've got to sink the surface, the ground, and then set them to the height that you need it. But then you've got to, adjust them when the height isn't right. Here's the general store. And the farmer owns this store. He lives here. And I got this. I've always liked the little general store from Little House on the Prairie. That's an old show. And I always liked that little store. So I kind of got the idea for that from it. And here's a car I made. I wanted it to be the E instead of a K, but the E just wouldn't work out unless I would have to redo the steering column and everything, and I didn't want to. So, and it just didn't look right for E, and it would have had to be bigger, but the K worked out fine. And then we've got this guy who's breaking his back, loading everybody's merchandise. This is the farmer's farm. And I made a silo because that was all I could think to use, which I think is very cool anyway. There's the farmer's barn. And here's where their grain comes through. I do love to decorate. And I do not rush. Unless I just feel bad or something. I am very meticulous. I can be quite slow at it, but it's just like if it doesn't look right, if it doesn't look realistic, then I want to redo it. So this is Cade's place, his workshop. And this arbor, I was so pleased with this arbor. It turned out really pretty to me. And this sign, obviously, the flowers, the ivy will grow on it. So I thought it gave it a rustic vibe to go with the ruins. This is Alden's. I think she's got a crush on him. I did not enjoy this room in the least. I'm not sure why. I could not. It just took me a bit to get it to this. I don't know. I just wasn't in the mood to make a throne room, but I thought, well, I might as well for Alden. So, but anyway, when I was doing this with these blocks, you can see that image up there, and I thought that looked like the iconic pictures or paintings that you would see of Jesus. So I thought, that is so cool that I didn't want to change it. So I left it. But anyway, this is Alden's toy room, I guess. Alden's probably one of my favorite characters on here. But I love the VUCA blocks. They make such interesting, I don't know what you would call those, not cornices, but whatever they're called. They remind me of the, excuse me, the VUCA blessing stone. I guess we could go ahead and see here. This was beautiful until I turned it into the market. Once it became the market, then it lost its charm, but it's still there, especially at night. But before I added this for the market, I was just absolutely enthralled with the luminance, I can't even think, of the candles. I have the candles stuck in the walls and just setting around various places. And it was beautiful. I love ruins, and I love the charm of ruins. But once I added all this other stuff, which is cool, I like this stuff. But in here, it's just a whole different thing. I thought, this would be a great place for weddings if we ever get to the point of being, people getting married on the game. This would be a beautiful place for weddings. Kind of like they did in Friends with Ross and what's her face. They were going to get married in that ruined area. But it's beautiful, but it just lost some of its appeal. But here's a fountain. I did probably a couple of months ago. I was trying to get this filmed then, but then things would just keep popping in my head. But now I'm done finally. I finished this probably about the end of March, I guess, and I got so tickled with it because I have a river here, a beautiful river, and that just tickled me that I was able to make a fountain also. This is Emily's little potting shed, I guess. I wish we could set rakes out and, tools and stuff. That would be cool to be able to have those in place too, especially around the farms. But here's for the armadillos and the chickens.
Hello.
Hello. And this is Emily's house, and she's married to, I can't remember his name. She's married to him. I love her house. This was the third house I built on here. I love it. It's kind of boho / farmer-esque. Something along that line. Here's their room. It could really use more stuff in here, but once I remodeled this bedroom area, I was basically done with it. Oh yeah, they have a little balcony, and you'll see the river a little bit here. A little bit of it. And her farm, bees. And yaks. Oh wait, here's my Emily sign and the maintenance guy or whatever adjusting her sign. Here's the place for the axe. I put the grates down like cattle guard to keep them from getting on the road, but nothing's going to stop a yak. So here is the Magister's office. I really had a time decorating this because I would have to put a level of blocks so I could decorate up and down each layer of shelving, and so it was, and tight space too. So, but once I finished, I thought it was really eye appealing. So I love his door, and I love transoms. So that's why there's these 2 rooms here, basically. Yes, sir. Can I help you? With these transom windows. And here, I got this idea from Rose. She does Enshrouded decorating houses and stuff like that. She does a lot on Medieval Dynasty as well. But here is my little storage room for this area, and then I put this table here because I didn't have space for it to sit, so I put it up here, and it's still quite usable. So there's the Magister, or Alchemist. I always call him the Magister. I'm not sure where that's from. I think it's from that book timeline. I think that just keeps sticking in my head. But here's their bathroom. And the faucets are with bottles. I got that idea from Chisel Chip with the bottles on the drink boards, And then that's a torch. You can hear the torch and see the smoke. But I just turned the torch on its side like that. And then you can't see it here because it's blocked up. There's an extra layer of block around here just for that. So, but let me go back here. I love their house. I think it's beautiful. And then we have May's. This is one of my favorite little houses. I just kept getting these little ideas for here, like for the stove or the fireplace and the oven. And the windows, I just wanted it to be cottagey but not dark. I wanted it to be airy. I love doing this with some windows. Putting that space above. I'm not sure why, but I like it. Her little bed. I would love to have these tables in real life. These rustic tables from the VUCA. I love that. And then I've got storage space up there. Baskets hanging. I like May. She's got a great voice. Kind voice. Okay, and before we go to the right, we're going to go here. This is the hunting lodge. They train here like for fighting, hunting, all that. This is an oubliette that I turned into the bathroom. If you don't know what an oubliette is, it's a very, very way deep down in their hole where they would be placed in, I'm not sure what era, medieval era for sure, but they would be placed down in that hole and left to die, and which is horrific. But to me, when I think of castles, a lot of castles or some would have oubliettes. So my idea of a castle that goes with it. This is her and Du Fletcher there.
Hello.
They lived here. And hello. And I've got 3 wells here. And almost every time I pass by a well, I grab some water because you use so much water on here. I just try to think to do that. I'm not exactly sure why, but that's what I do. And that way I'm always getting water and I always have plenty. This started out being the house for the hunters. It was for them. And I decided to take it for myself because I cannot build myself a house. I have to build one with somebody in mind, and then I pick what I want. I don't know why I can't build a house for me. I think because I don't know what I want in one because I have such a wide array of ideas and likes. So I took it for myself. They're happy living in the little mini castle over there anyway. So, and then my porch, which I am proud of. I think it's beautiful. Here's the bathroom. Same thing with the faucets, the handles. So we have a swinging bed, hanging bed. I sleep out here on occasion. It says I don't get warm, but I think in this area I probably do get warm. This is a task to do things like this, putting this gate up in the middle of the air. You have to put a platform to where you want it or think you want it, and then you sink it. And you have to just keep doing that until you get it to the height that you need it. But it's fun. I really enjoy figuring those things out. This area is just something that came to my head. This was already here. There's another one or two back there. This just came to me. I wanted to do this. Kind of like a Robin Hood idea. This is kind of like a little lookout. And it's so pretty at night. It's going to be night if I don't hurry. And then you come up here and we have a training course. I have a hidden door here. And another hidden door. And I really need to move him over, but they're going to pounce, or he's going to pounce and land on his sword, his imaginary sword. And then we have another door. This guy's oblivious. He's not paying any attention to anything. This was fun. This was fun. I was trying to do kind of a, what was it, firing range from Call of Duty. I was trying to do something like that, but this area wasn't large enough for that, so it turned into this. And we have another hidden area in case they're overrun. Maybe they wouldn't be found out down here. And then we go back down and we have a little pond, which I'm still so childish, I guess. I love doing this stuff. I would love to do this in real life. Here's the river. It's hard to see a little bit now. Let me show you this at night. I think it's so pretty. Just breeze back through here. I love how this looks at night, especially with the spire lit up. I think it's gorgeous. I have a home in the woods, but it's not lit up like that. I would love it. Ahead is the greenhouse. I just got that finished yesterday, and then today I did this, or completed this today. I wanted to have the little garden outside of the greenhouse. And I've got some mycelium effect. I love how it shimmers. Another little fountain coming from a spilled jug. This was a lot of hard work, especially the angles. You have to get the angles just right. I should have put something in my hand so I would have something to make this first person. But the roof was the hardest part. Oh my gosh, because of the angles. I just had to keep curving in. But this is the conservatory part, I guess, up here, while below is the greenhouse. I think it's so pretty. And here is a ruin that was just found. Here is a Pompeii-ish ruin with the amphora still here behind the cage that I built. And then we have the aqueduct that I just decided to do on the spur of the moment, which took me 3 days, but I didn't do it completely through. I got kind of bored with it. And then we have this little temple. And then another layer up there with just lighting. But then I have, remember the part where I said I was childish? We have ice skating at the top of the village. And I do still wish I could do that, but I can't. So now we have, let me go right here. Gosh, you can't walk through the sugar cane. This is the pond part of the river. Go back up here. The river is really pretty to me. Love it. Here's the garden, I said, but here is a little barnish area, storage. We have a guy out here 24/7 picking fruits and veggies and sugar cane. And there's the bees. The river. I'll be glad when we do have flowing water. But until then, I am pleased just fine with the frozen water. And I use the terrain blocks, the underbelly of the terrain blocks, to make these dimples, which was a big help, because without that, to me, it just looks like ice. But that, when you're moving it, makes it kind of look like the water's moving as well. Here is another ruin. Here is a tiny old church. Yeah, I should have brought something to make, to have the ability to go into first person, but I didn't think of it until now. Too late. This is an old villa here. This is their little just outbuilding. And this is the villa with the atrium inside, which is now housing a tree instead of water. We've got the crumbled blocks, the tiles that have fallen. And I love the lighting in the ruins. I guess you notice I've got lighting at every ruin. And I think that's just to maybe memorialize the lives that would be lost there and the memories, honor the memories that were there. But I don't like the bright lights at the places. I want it to be just low and charming. But I worked very hard on this and pleased that I was able to get the ceiling tiles to look, I don't know if I can get up there, to look like they do. Thank goodness we have that destruction tool now, because it helps to give that effect instead of just having a block chopped out. Now it's definitely showing the effect of age and destruction. So it looks just really good. I'm grateful for that tool. Here's basically the property line. The aqueduct stopped back yonder, little ways, not far. And yeah, we have a wreck in progress. It's the slowest wreck I've ever seen in my life. This is the Smithy's house. We'll go in just a minute. This is where the property ends, but the river begins. Can't see it very well. In the light, it's really pretty. And it does flow under the Smithy's house. Luckily, it never floods. I saw the goats are up there, but we're not going to go up there. An old, I think it's in California, a hotel that had a river running through it. And that idea stuck in my head the whole time since then. So that's where this idea came from, that I was going to have their house go over the river like this. Instead of through it, I wanted it to go over it. Here's another bridge. I've got 3 bridges. See, there's the effect with the gap at the top. That's the rough stone that causes that point. I really like that. And here's the river at night here, from here. It's really pretty during the day. You can see the dimples more in the water. There's the Smithy's shop. This may have been a little overboard, but, you know, Smithy likes it. I'm content with it. My dad he used to work at the quarry. So I always had this kind of in mind, you know, the memory of being in his office and stuff. So I just made that part of that memory into the Smithy's shop there. And here's the Smithy's sign. I made that during the dark, I mean at night, and it was not easy. It's not wise to do a lot of things on this game in the dark because like roads, that's the worst thing you could do on this game in the dark or when it's nighttime, because it will be terrible, in my opinion, for me, because I'm terrible at making roads anyway. And I've tried and tried and tried. I'm terrible. It doesn't happen. So this is the original road that they had on the game. I added some of the rocky stone in here to make it look, it's been used, wet, dirty. So now we're back here. This is Kate's house, the craftsman. This is his room. See the rough stone point? I really like that. Yes, sir. And I had a goat get stuck in this fireplace once. I'm not sure why or even how it got in there. I have no idea. There's Braylon's room. Why is she sleeping? Oh, she's trying to sleep in the chair. I guess she fell asleep when she was reading. But this is her room. I was going to make this into a kitchen, and I just didn't have enough space. I didn't have the, much of the desire to, because I figured they would be going to the diner or the tavern anyway. So, and here is an unused bus stop. Yeah, a bus stop. So it did have a roof, but it was unattractive because I love this street. Let's go back to the river real fast. See, look at the water. That's just awesome. The reflection that they have on this ice is amazing. Now, if they had it where it was moving, it would be wonderful. But I do love this. But I love this street. I just love the way it looks. This is the oldest part of town. And there's nothing more charming than an old part of town. I absolutely love it. But anyway, this is my village. Oh, there's another transom. That's Alden's house. But I am going to be starting a new playthrough. I'm not going to go back through and discover everything because I've done that twice now. I'm going to carry some things over, and some things I will be doing there because, you've got to do the spires and the hollow halls and everything. So, but a lot of this stuff it's just mundane to go and retrieve all of this when you've got thousands and thousands of building blocks and all that. I'm just going to carry some over and start a new village over in the Nomads. I think that's beautiful. I have a great idea for that. I say it's great, but that remains to be seen. It may not be worth a crap. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to record that, Lord willing. I'm going to record that and hope it all goes well. And if it does, then hopefully you'll get to watch. But anyway, I'm anxious to do that. I'm actually going to do that probably tomorrow because it's getting quite late now and I have to cook. This is the river here, and it goes over to the shroud. So, but anyway, thank you so much for your attention, and I will check you later. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.